Hey, boys and girls. Well, I was terrible and didn't read chapter 9 over the weekend. I was supposed to do it Friday, and we had the longest meeting, like a 4.5 hour meeting. You will not believe it. Trying to get fourth graders put in the right classes in fifth grade. But anyhow, I'm going to read the rest of the book today. So that's chapter 9 and 10. So I'm just going to read all straight through. So you can listen to both chapters. All right, so we're already in May, and you know the end of the year's drawing nigh, just like ours is. And even though we haven't been in school, we're getting close to the end of the year when you have a little break. Hopefully, y'all are doing your packets and all that good stuff. But pretty soon, maybe you'll just be reading to keep up during the summer. All right, so they're in a pickle, aren't they? I'm trying to remember what was happening when we left. They think they might be in trouble with the law. And Brenton says it might be possible to destroy any evidence that Belch ever existed. He could erase all the data and wipe out the hard drive. Now that sounded like a good idea to Snick. We were all in agreement. We decided to go into the principal Wilson's office the next week and deny everything. So they're not planning on telling the truth. They're going to try to wipe out everything that's on the homework machine on Belch. All right, so they were going to pretend there were never any such thing as the homework machine. So let's see if that comes to fruition, happens. All right, so May, Sam Dawkins, or Snick. So the four of us gather at my house that Saturday. We didn't all have to be there just to erase all the data. I guess we wanted to say goodbye to Belch. After all, it had been an amazing machine, at least before everything went wrong. It deserved a decent goodbye. Make sure I got it all turned up good. There we go. Brenton sits down at the keyboard and starts doing his thing. He says it would only take a few minutes to destroy all the data and erase the hard drive. But 5 minutes go by and he's still fooling with it. He has this worried look on his face. Uh-oh. I think I know. Brenton, something was wrong. I had never locked the files or password protected them. But something was preventing me from deleting them. I tried everything. Kelsey. Judy started to panic. She was grabbing Brenton by the shoulders and asking, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" He told her to stop it because he couldn't concentrate. He kept wiping the sweat off his forehead. The machine wasn't letting him delete anything. Judy. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the power cord and just yanked the plug out of the wall. Kelsey. Judy went nuts and pulled the plug. We all thought that would be the end of it, but nothing happened. Belch was still on the screen, and the little red power light didn't go out. Then she really went nuts. Brenton. Apparently, in the months we had been using the machine, it somehow discovered a way to conserve its energy or run without a traditional source of power or electricity. That's how intelligent it was. It had probably discovered some obscure website that described an alternative energy source that we couldn't begin to understand. I was frustrated that I could not seem to turn the thing off. But at the same time, I marveled at the power of the artificial intelligence. I was proud of it, in a way. It had evolved with no help from me. That's scary to me. Snick. It was like some weird science fiction movie where the scientist creates this machine that becomes too powerful and develops a mind of its own and gets out of control and turns evil and tries to take over the world. I told Brenton to stop kidding around and just turn the thing off, but he couldn't. It was really too smart. Judy was out of her mind. We all were. Judy, the machine was using us instead of us using it. We couldn't stop it. There was no telling what it might decide to do. Brenton said it might be a good idea for us to go into another room to talk about it, what to do next. I asked him why. I know why, do you? He said Belch might be listening. That really freaked me out. Kelsey, there was no getting around it. We knew what we had to do. We had to destroy Belch, not deprogram it or erase it or delete some stupid files. We had to destroy the thing before it destroyed us. Snick, if there's one thing I'm good at, it's busting stuff. I have a few baseball bats in the garage. We could have just taken Belch outside and whaled on the thing and busted it up good. But the others said that the police or the FBI or whoever was snooping around asking questions would find all the little pieces all over my yard. Kelsey, we talked about all the ways we could destroy Belch. Judy suggested we take it apart piece by piece and then mail each piece to a different country. But we didn't have time for that. Snick wanted to set it on fire or stuff it full of firecrackers, blow it to smithereens. I said we could just open up the back and pour cheese whiz all over the inside. My mom once dropped cheese whiz on the calculator by accident and it never worked again. Judy, I just wanted it to go away forever. They were throwing all kinds of crazy ideas out. We could melt it, run it over with a bulldozer, dig a hole in the ground and bury it so deeply they wouldn't find it for 100 years. I guess I was the one who suggested we throw it in the Grand Canyon. Oh, good idea. I wasn't serious. It was just a dumb idea. Snick, Judy had a brilliant idea. We didn't even have to dig a hole. We live right next to the biggest hole in the world. It's like a mile deep. The Colorado River is at the bottom, and it's almost 300 miles long. Wow. The river could carry Belch away, and we'd never see it again. It was foolproof. Judy, why would I be part of such a crazy plan? I don't know. Sometimes when I'm under stress, I don't think straight. Despite desperate people do stupid things, I didn't use good judgment. My brain wasn't working. Everybody thought it was such a great idea. I got swept up in it. Brenton, it was like chess. We were in zugzwang. Any move we made would have made our position worse. It seemed like our best and only option was to throw Belch into the Grand Canyon. The bottom of the canyon is a mile down, but it's not a steep cliff like the one of those Roadrunner cartoons. We couldn't just drop Belch over the edge and expect it to reach the bottom. It would be necessary to throw it a good distance to clear the rocks and trees. There was only one way to do that. What would that be? Snick, the catapult. I thought it was a genius. The catapult. I thought, what a genius Brenton is. We'd get the catapult he built for school and bring it out to the south rim of the canyon. We'd load Belch up on it and chuck the thing out of our lives forever. Chuck. Let's see. Do you think that's going to happen? Oh. Kelsey, we waited until it was dark that night. The moon was full, I remember. Judy, we snuck into Brenton's garage and took out his catapult. Brenton, we took the catapult over to Snick's house and disconnected Belch. The red light never turned off. Snick, we loaded Belch onto the catapult. Kelsey, we wheeled the catapult over the edge of the south rim. Over to the edge of the south rim. Brenton, we found an isolated spot where it looked like it would be the shortest distance to the middle of the canyon. Kelsey, we made sure nobody was around. Judy, we all said goodbye. It was like taking an old friend to the airport when they were moving away and you knew you'd never see them again. Snick, we did a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, you know. Kelsey, Brenton pushed the button. Snick, and the thing just flew. You should have seen it. It crossed right in front of the moon. It was beautiful. Kelsey, we waited and waited. We never heard a splash or a crash. It was so far down. It was like the thing just vanished. Judy, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Kelsey, it was gone. It was over. Chapter 10, last chapter. If you want to make a prediction now in your head. What is it gone? Is it down in the deep canyon? Is anybody else going to ever find out about it? Is it going to be their little secret? That's all the wondering I'm doing. I'm wondering all that stuff. Okay, chapter 10, and it's summer. I guess school's out. Snick. So school ends and we figured that's that. We got away with it. When we went into the principal's office for that meeting, we all played dumb. Homework machine? What homework machine? We pretended we didn't know what he was talking about. There was no evidence. Nobody could prove anything. That's telling a lie, though, isn't it? Sam's mom. I was dusting his room and noticed that nice new computer wasn't there anymore. So I asked Sam where it was. He said Brenton asked for it back. I never called to check to see if that was true. Police Chief Rebecca Fish. In early June, 2 backpackers, came across some junk scattered around the bottom of the canyon, not far from the river. It had obviously been dropped off the rim. Luckily, the stuff didn't land on them. The backpackers alerted the park ranger. He contacted me. Most of the pieces were too small to identify, but a few things looked like they might have been part of a computer. Who chucks a computer into the Grand Canyon? I put out the word to all the companies and organizations and schools within 10 miles. We have strict rules against dumping debris in a national park, you know. Visitors want to see nature, not somebody's trash. Miss Rasmussen. I was washing the dinner dishes when our principal, Mr. Wilson, called and told me about the pieces of a computer being found in the canyon. I didn't want to think that my students had anything to do with it, but I couldn't help but wonder. I told him I had a theory about what happened. I guess he made a few phone calls. Yikesy, Judy. That was probably the most humiliating experience of my life. School had just let out for the summer, and the 4 of us were called into the sheriff's office. We didn't know why. Our parents had to come, and Miss Rasmussen was there too. They sat us down at the big table. In the middle of the table was a piece of belch, the busted up keyboard. Nobody had to say a word. We knew what had happened. Snick. So they ask if anybody has anything to say, and we all just sit there not looking at each other. We could have blamed the whole thing on Brenton. I have to admit the thought crossed my mind. He invented the thing, right? And he couldn't keep the secret. He invented the catapult too. But I couldn't rat on him. Brenton was my friend. They had no evidence to tie us to the keyboard. It could have been anybody's keyboard. We could have gotten away with it. But then Judy just burst into tears, and the jig was up. Oh, Lord, she gave it up. Kelsey. Judy started crying, so I got up and said, "It was all my fault. I did it." Look, Brenton and Judy were geniuses. They shouldn't be prevented from going to college or doing something great with their lives because they made one stupid mistake in 5th grade. I didn't want Snick to take the rap either, after his dad died just a few months ago. Miss Rasmussen. After Kelsey confessed, Judy shouted out that Kelsey was lying and that she was responsible for the whole thing. Everybody was shocked. I couldn't imagine Judy doing something like that. Then Brenton started yelling, "No, no, it was all my idea." The 4 of them started arguing about which one of them was most to blame, and instead of blaming each other, they all blamed themselves. They were all apologizing at once. I had never seen anything like it. Thinking it over, I decided somebody else was really to blame. Me. I should have known what was going on months earlier. I was naive. I should have been more on top of things. They did it right under my nose. I so wanted my students to be successful, and I wanted to think they were successful because of my teaching. I guess the sad truth is that I still have a lot to learn about teaching, and I can't be so trusting with students in the future. I'll be more careful next year. I told the kids that they didn't have to go off and invent a homework machine because a homework machine already exists. It's called your brain. Police Chief Rebecca Fish. When the kids were called into my office, that threw a scare into them. They confessed to everything. They seemed genuinely sorry for what they did, so I went easy on them. Made them hike down to the bottom of the canyon on a hot day and clean up the mess. Took them all day. Then I made them come into the office over the summer and say what happened so we got it on record. Far as I'm concerned, this case is closed. Good. Kelsey, I figured that was the end of it. School was over. Summer was here. I wouldn't be seeing Snick or Judy or Brenton until next September. I don't know why, but I dyed my hair brown again and took out the belly button ring. I guess I just thought it was stupid. Judy, we were leaving the sheriff's office and I knew that if I didn't say anything, I wouldn't see any of them for 3 months. So I worked up the courage and walked up to Brenton and asked him if he wanted to go out with me. What would that entail? That's the way he put it. What would that entail? He cracks me up. So I told him it meant we might get together over the summer, get some ice cream or pizza or hang out and talk and stuff. He said that sounded good to him. So I guess we're going out. I think so, anyway. Brenton, in honor of the beginning of summer, I decided to part my hair on the opposite side of my head. I really don't care about the way I look, but I read on some website that when you flush a toilet in the south hemisphere, the water swirls clockwise. And when you flush a toilet in the northern hemisphere, the water swirls counterclockwise. So I thought it would be interesting to part my hair on the opposite direction during the summer and winter months. And Judy likes it better this way. Oh, he likes Judy too. Judy, 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 Judy. Snick. I was thinking it over. In the beginning of the year, we all thought Brenton was a dork of the highest order. But I decided that Brenton was probably the coolest kid I ever met. And that includes me. Coolness doesn't come from having cool stuff or hanging with cool people. It's not cool to try to be cool. It's cool to not try to be cool. Brenton just does it his own thing. He's one of these guys who is so uncool that he's cool. You know what I mean? You reach a point where you cross the line into coolness. Anyway, after school ended, I decided to call him. He said, "To do what?" "We don't have any homework." And I said, "I don't know. You want to play a game of chess?" And he said, "Okay." Kelsey, I never thought I'd hear from Judy, but she called me right after school ended. She said that Brenton and Snick were going to play chess over at Brenton's house, and she was going too, and did I want to come? Brenton's parents weren't home, but my mom said it was okay, so I said sure. By the time I got there, Snick and Brenton were already going at it hot and heavy. All year long, Snick refused to play Brenton, and now they were finally playing each other. I mean, it was intense in there. It was like the Super Bowl of chess. The two of them were staring at the board so hard I thought it was going to burst into flames. I didn't say a word. All I knew was chess was what Miss Rasmussen told us. I counted up the pieces on both sides, and Brenton had one more pawn than Snick. That was the only difference, so I knew it was a close game. Every so often, Brenton would mutter something mysterious like classic Sicilian defense or, the old Bingo gambit. I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm not sure Snick did either. Judy. Brenton was sweating and fidgeting and talking to himself. I couldn't believe Snick was giving him a good game. I remember thinking back to September, how Snick was so dumb. And now he was holding his own at chess with the smartest guy in maybe the whole world. I was rooting for Brenton, of course, because he's my boyfriend. Kelsey. We took a break to eat some cookies Miss Damagotchi had left, and I noticed that Brenton and Judy were holding hands. Holding hands? So I say, are you two going out or something? Brenton just looked all embarrassed. But Judy said, yeah, we're going out. I knew it. So while they were off being all lovey-dovey with each other, Snick came over to me and asked me if I want to go get ice cream or something after the game. Can you believe that? Sam Dawkins, Snick, actually asked me out. I tried to be cool about it. I said, are you just asking me because Brenton and Judy are going out? Or do you really want to go out with me? And he says, I really want to go out with you. I wanted to ask you out ever since school started, but I was too shy. Oh my Lord, we got two couples going on. Him? Shy? Unbelievable. I couldn't resist giving Snick a hard time. I said, you need Brenton Damagotchi to give you the courage to ask a girl out. How pathetic. Then I said, sure, I'd like to go out with him. Brenton. It reminded me of the classic Karpov Korchana. I don't know. I should know this, but I don't know. Karpov Korchano game in 1978. I tried a queen-side advance, but Snick had two aligned bishops clogging up the middle of the board. I offered him a poison pawn, but he was too smart to fall into that trap. Snick doesn't like dumb mistakes. Snick doesn't make dumb mistakes the way he used to. He was a much stronger player than he had been a few months earlier. I was up one piece, but he had the stronger position. I kept looking at the board, trying to come up with something that would trip him up. It was hopeless. Finally, I tipped my king over, and we shook hands. He had beaten me. What about that? That's a big thing to beat Brenton. Snick. I tried to be cool about it, but it was impossible. My heart was jumping out of my chest. I had just beaten Brenton Damagotchi, the kid who was so smart that he got every kid in America to wear red socks to school. If I can beat him, that must mean I'm pretty smart too. Judy. So Snick beat Brenton, and I thought nothing could beat that. But suddenly the doorbell rang. Brenton asked me to see who it was. I opened the door, and there was a guy in a suit standing there. Oh yeah, I forgot about the FBI or something. Brenton asked me to see who... Okay, I opened the door. He looked familiar to me, but I couldn't place the face. Then he sticks out his hand and says his name is Richard Milner. Oh my God, I forgot about him. Milner. Kelsey. Judy let out this scream from the front hallway. We heard the door slam and we all came running over. She was hysterical. She said it was this guy she had seen on the street. I asked her what his name was, and she said it was Milner. Milner! That was the guy who was stalking me online. He was right outside the door. I freaked out. Snick. Kelsey started screaming, "Call the police! Call 911!" I didn't know what to do. Judy and Kelsey were screaming and crying and running around like an asteroid about to hit the house. They said the guy was with the FBI or the CIA, and we would all be going to jail. I looked around for the baseball bat and something I could hit the guy with if he tried to break down the door. Oh my gosh. Brenton, I opened the door. What else could I do? The man was just standing there. Snick, Sam. So Brenton opens the door and asks this guy if he's with the FBI. He says no. Brenton asks him if he's with the CIA. He says no. I can't take it anymore, so I ask the guy who he is and what he wants from us. He says nobody's in trouble and we didn't do anything wrong. That calmed the girls down a little. Judy, the guy showed us his business card. He says he's in marketing business and he works for a company that sells stuff to kids. I asked him why he was stalking us, and he said he wasn't stalking us. He simply wanted to talk to us. Sam, I asked the guy what kind of stuff he sells to kids. He says everything. Breakfast cereal, toys, toothpaste, clothes, video games, music. So I asked, what does that have to do with us? Kelsey, the guy says he's been looking for kids who influence other kids. You know, like kids who are the first to do stuff, and then everybody else starts doing the same stuff. Kids who start trends. He's been trying to talk to us for a long time, he said, because he thought Red Sox Day and Inside Day, Out Day were brilliant and effective marketing plans. If Britain could get every kid in America to wear red socks to school, he said, imagine how much breakfast cereal his clients could sell. Imagine how many toys, clothes, tubes of toothpaste, video games, and CDs his clients could sell. He said he would pay Brenton if he could help him. When they say the toothpaste, sell the toothpaste, I can make a connection with a story we've already read this year. Can you? Think about it. Sam, I'm thinking how much. I mean, this could be bigger than McHomework. Judy, basically the guy wanted Brenton to help him trick kids. He wanted Brenton to spread the word that certain products were cool so his clients could make more money. I didn't think it was very nice, and I told him so. I told him that kids don't need anyone to tell them what to buy. Most toys are junk anyway. We can make up our own minds and about which video games to play and CDs we should listen to. We can make up our own minds about what's cool. But of course, it was Brenton's call. He invented the machine. He was the computer genius. Brenton, I thought it over. I told the guy I'd like to go into business with him. Judy was really mad. Then I told the guy I didn't want to sell toothpaste, and I didn't want to sell clothes or CDs or video games. He says, well, what do you want to sell? I told him I don't want to sell some product to kids of the... I told him I don't want to sell some products to kids of the world. I want to sell an idea. A really good idea that I've been working on in my head. The guy was all excited. He asked, what's the idea? What's the idea? I looked around like it was a big secret that I didn't want to tell anyone else. I didn't want anyone else to hear. Then I whispered in his ear, do your homework. The guy left. I don't think he'll be bothering us anymore. That's a pretty good one, wasn't it? How do you like that story? After you finish reading listening to all the chapters, I want you to tell me, what are your feelings about the story? And do you think Brenton made the wise choice? And what good came out of this story? They weren't doing the right thing, but something good came out of the story with the 4 kids. So I'd love for you to tell me in a video, write it, or draw a picture, or all of the above. Do it every way you want. And tell me what good came out of what happened concerning the 4 students. All right, we'll start a new story tomorrow. I don't even know the name of it. Miss Lampley's got the book, and she's had 2, and she's dropping it off to me. So anyhow, have a good day. Love you. Bye-bye.